Is choosing to live alone after 65 a sign of decline, or the beginning of your greatest chapter? Most people still believe that aging means you should always be surrounded by family, by noise, by constant care. They picture silence as loneliness. They see empty rooms as risky, and they assume solitude is something to be feared, not chosen. But here's the truth most people miss. Deciding to live alone between your mid-60s and early 80s could be the most liberating, powerful decision you've made in decades. It's not about shutting the world out. It's about finally stepping into a world that listens to you, a space where you get to set the tone, follow your own pace, and protect what brings you peace. Yes, some people worry that living alone might mean being isolated, or worse, forgotten. But for many older adults, it brings exactly the opposite. It offers strength, clarity, and a gentle kind of renewal. It gives you space not to fade, but to expand. Not to hold your breath, but to finally exhale. Not to disappear, but to reconnect with the pieces of yourself that got buried under years of caregiving, compromise, and constant noise. Because living alone isn't the absence of connection, it's the presence of intention. In this video, we'll walk through 7 quietly powerful, often unspoken reasons why choosing to live alone in your late 60s, 70s, or even early 80s could be the most joyful and life-giving choice you'll ever make. So if you've ever wondered whether independence is still meant for you, if you've been told that solitude means sadness, or if part of you feels like you're ready to reclaim something deep within, then stay right here. What you discover today may change the way you see your later years, in all the best ways. And hey, before we begin, take a moment, grab a cup of tea or coffee, settle into your favorite chair. Let's take this journey together, not as strangers, but as old friends sharing a quiet conversation. If you've ever felt that living alone after 65 might actually be a smart and healthy decision, go ahead and drop a comment below saying, "Living alone was the best decision I made." Your voice could be the one that inspires someone else. Don't forget to like this video, hit subscribe, and tap the bell so you won't miss what's coming next, especially the final insight at the end of this video. You won't want to miss it. All right, ready? Let's begin. Number 1, a stronger sense of autonomy. There's something profoundly human about the desire to make your own choices. What time to eat, what music to enjoy, whether you want to spend your morning reading a favorite book or just sitting in stillness with a warm cup of coffee. When you live alone, every single one of those choices belongs to you. You don't have to explain. You don't have to compromise on the thermostat setting or negotiate what's for dinner. To others, those might seem like small things, but for many older adults, this is the first time in decades they've been able to truly honor their own rhythms, their own tastes, without guilt, without disruption. Having autonomy doesn't mean rejecting support. It means holding on to your dignity. When you live with others, especially adult children or caregivers, it's easy to feel like decisions start slipping out of your hands. What begins as loving help can quietly morph into control. Before you know it, your routines get rearranged to suit theirs. Your needs are squeezed into their schedule. Your home, once a sacred space, starts to feel shared. And your voice? It begins to fade just a little. Even with the best intentions, that kind of shift chips away at confidence. Take Norma, for example, a 74-year-old who moved in with her son after recovering from a hip injury. She appreciated the care, the home-cooked meals, the sense of safety. But slowly she started disappearing in her own life. Her favorite records stopped playing because her grandson found them too loud. She adjusted her meal times to match the family, and one evening it hit her. She hadn't chosen her own bedtime in weeks. When she eventually moved back into her apartment, something beautiful happened. She stood taller, smiled brighter. She even danced in the kitchen again. It wasn't just about having a space of her own. It was about reclaiming choice. Living alone gives you that gift. It reminds you that you're not just aging, you're still living, still becoming, still fully deserving of shaping every day in a way that feels authentic to you. And that kind of autonomy, it plants the seed of self-respect. And self-respect, no matter your age, is the foundation of true strength. If you believe someone else in your life needs to hear this message today, please share this video with them. You never know whose life it might change. Number 2, a more peaceful environment. There's a kind of stillness that only exists when you're alone in a place that truly belongs to you. Not the silence that feels lonely or hollow, but the kind that feels soft, steady, and untouched. When you live on your own, you get to craft that quiet. You're in charge of the soundtrack of your day, what you let in and what you leave out. There's no TV booming through the walls, no footsteps echoing down the hallway at 5 a.m., no muffled phone calls bleeding through thin doors. Just the soft rhythm of your breath, the gentle creak of your favorite chair, the calm that people spend decades chasing but rarely find. And here's the thing. That kind of space doesn't just feel good. It actually heals you. It soothes your nervous system. It eases anxiety. It brings down your cortisol, the stress hormone tied to everything from high blood pressure to restless sleep. When you share space with others, especially if they're hurried, loud, or emotionally intense, you start to absorb their energy, whether you're aware of it or not. Their rush, their moods, their clutter, it all seeps into your skin. And over time, you forget what true stillness even feels like. Let me tell you about Gloria, a 70-year-old retired school teacher who spent 5 years living with her grown daughter and 2 lively grandkids. She loved them deeply, but every day was full of noise, motion, interruptions, spills, questions, needs tugging at her every hour. By the end of each day, Gloria felt drained. Then when her daughter moved into her own place, something amazing happened. Gloria didn't just get her house back, she got her body back. Her sleep became deeper, her digestion calmed. She even said her memory felt sharper, not because of a pill, but because her body finally had the chance to rest. There's something deeply restorative about having no one to please, to wake up with no conversations waiting for you, no pressure to respond, to entertain, to smile before you're ready. Just you, in a space that listens more than it talks. For many older adults, that's not loneliness, that's peace. And once you've truly tasted peace, it becomes something you'll never want to give up. If you're still watching and this message is resonating with you, let me know by commenting below. I need more quiet moments like this. And if you found this helpful, please support the channel by liking this video, subscribing, and turning on the bell so you never miss what's next. If you'd like to go a step further, tapping the Super Thanks button helps us create more content like this to inform and inspire others just like you. Now take a deep breath. Let's move on to the next insight. Number 3, freedom to shape your own routine. There's a quiet kind of joy that comes from flowing through your day on your own schedule. Waking when your body naturally stirs, eating when you're truly hungry, deciding when to run errands, when to pause, when to turn off the lights. All without needing to match someone else's timeline. Living alone gives you that freedom. It places the rhythm of your life gently back into your hands. And that rhythm, once it settles, can be its own kind of medicine. So often, older adults end up shifting their daily lives to fit around others, whether it's the routine of an adult child, the timing of a caregiver, or the friendly interruptions of a neighbor who always drops by. Slowly, their days stop being their own. Time becomes borrowed. Meals feel rushed, sleep gets disturbed, and personal habits, like a morning walk or quiet reading in the afternoon, begin to fade. You might not notice it at first, but deep down, something inside starts to shrink, like a flower turning away from the light. Let me tell you about Carl, a 77-year-old widower who moved in with his nephew after a health scare. At first, it felt supportive. He had company and care. But soon his mornings were ruled by the family's rush to school, meals happened on their schedule, and the constant noise became exhausting. He missed his crossword puzzles, his long breakfasts, and the calm of his afternoons. Eventually, Carl asked to move back into his small apartment. What happened next surprised everyone. His energy returned, he began painting again, and his sleep finally became restful. All because he got his time back. Having your own routine isn't selfish. It's soul deep. It's how you honor your body, nurture your spirit, and live each day with intention rather than obligation. Living alone isn't about cutting yourself off. It's about realigning with your natural rhythm, your true needs, and your quiet joys. And that kind of alignment doesn't just make life bearable, It makes it feel deeply, truly right. If this story reminded you of someone in your life, please consider sharing this video with them. You never know whose rhythm needs restoring. Number 4. Emotional resilience and confidence. There's a quiet kind of power that rises when you prove to yourself that you're still capable. Not out of necessity, but because you choose to take life into your own hands. Living alone later in life doesn't just offer freedom, it fosters a strength that builds in the everyday. Paying the bills, making your own meals, calling the plumber, locking your own door each night. These small actions whisper to your mind, "I've still got this. I'm steady. I'm in control of my life." For many older adults, there's an underlying belief that independence fades with age, that asking for less help means risking too much. But the truth is, when done with care and awareness, managing life on your own can actually bring back confidence that may have quietly drifted away. Because each time you make a decision, each time you solve a simple problem, your sense of self becomes stronger. You stop second-guessing. You stop waiting for permission. You begin to trust yourself again. Let me tell you about Bernice, 81 years old, who had lived with her sister most of her life. When her sister passed, everyone assumed she'd move in with relatives. But instead, Bernice chose to stay in the home they'd shared. At first, she wasn't sure she could manage. She hesitated. But day by day, she did it. She paid her bills, fixed a leaking faucet, took daily walks. And one afternoon, after scheduling and driving herself to a doctor's appointment, she said aloud, "I didn't know I could still do all this." That moment lit her up from the inside. Living alone gives you experiences like that. Moments that reconnect you with who you were and remind you of who you still are. It shows you that aging isn't a slow disappearance. It's an unfolding. And the more you do for yourself, the more you believe in yourself. That belief becomes a quiet armor. It steadies you when life shakes, it grounds you when uncertainty creeps in, and it fills your silent moments not with fear, but with pride you've earned. If this spoke to something inside you, leave a comment and share your voice. Try this. I trust myself more when I do things alone. And if you haven't already, click like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you won't miss what's coming next. You can also support the channel through the Super Thanks button. It's a small act that helps us continue creating heartfelt content just like this. Number 5. Fewer social conflicts and emotional friction. One of the most underrated gifts of living alone in your later years is the calm that comes from escaping daily conflict. You're no longer tiptoeing around passive-aggressive comments. You're not absorbing someone else's sour mood. You don't have to argue over how loud the TV is or hold your tongue just to keep the dinner table peaceful. These things might sound small on the surface, but emotional tension, especially when it's constant, drains you. It eats away at your peace of mind, and slowly, without even noticing, it can steal the joy out of your days. When you live with others, even those you love, the potential for tension is always there. It could be a difference in habits, in beliefs, or simply in how you want your space to feel. At first, these seem manageable, but over time, the constant pressure to explain, adjust, or justify your preferences wears you thin. You begin to dim your light to avoid conflict. You stop sharing your honest thoughts. You walk on eggshells. You censor your joy, and that quiet pressure builds up. Let me tell you about Leonard, a 79-year-old who moved in with his daughter after a minor fall. Her intentions were pure. She wanted to look after him. But quickly, every choice turned into a negotiation. Could he still drive? Was he allowed to eat what he liked? Could he work in his garden? After a year, Leonard chose to move into a senior living apartment, not because he didn't love his family, but because he missed hearing his own voice. Within weeks, his shoulders straightened. His laugh returned. He said, "It finally feels like this space is mine again." Living alone doesn't mean pushing people away. It means being intentional about when and how you connect. It means keeping your emotional space clear. It means choosing relationships that bring peace, not ones forced by shared walls. And when you do spend time with loved ones, your children, your friends, your neighbors, it comes from fullness, not exhaustion. That kind of clarity doesn't just help you feel better, it helps you love better. And maybe that's the most valuable gift of all. If you found value in this story, consider sharing this video with someone who needs a little more peace in their life. Number 6, a deeper connection with yourself. There's a kind of understanding that can only grow in silence. When you live alone, especially in the years between 65 and 80, something subtle but powerful begins to shift. It's not just your schedule that opens up, not just your space, it's your awareness. Without the constant buzz of other people's voices, without the quiet pressure to entertain, explain, or adjust, you start to hear your own voice again. You remember what you actually enjoy, what you believe in, what you've missed, what still makes you curious. That kind of reconnection with yourself can be surprisingly life-giving. For most of our lives, we're wrapped in roles: parent, spouse, worker, caregiver. We spend decades doing, giving, fixing, helping. But then one day the house grows quiet, and the world gives you a rare gift: room. Room to finally ask, who am I now? And what do I want this next chapter to feel like? That question isn't heavy, it's holy. Solitude becomes the blank canvas, and from that stillness, new things start to take root. Maybe it's writing, maybe it's painting, maybe it's prayer, or maybe it's just resting in your favorite chair, watching the light stretch across the floor, and realizing, for once, there's no rush. Let me tell you about Harold, an 84-year-old widower who had always lived in a full house. After his wife passed and his children moved out of state, Harold made a different choice. He didn't fill the silence with activity. He didn't join every club or rent out his extra rooms. Instead, he stayed with himself. At first, it felt strange, even uncomfortable. But slowly, Harold began journaling. Then he started recording his memories. And one day he said something that has stayed with me ever since. I thought I was alone, but in the quiet, I found someone. I found me. That's what living alone can offer. Not absence, but presence. A deeper presence in your own thoughts, in your unfolding life. And when you allow yourself to go that deep, what you discover isn't just peace, it's purpose. You begin to realize that growing older doesn't mean fading, it means uncovering. And in that uncovering, you don't just feel comfort, you find you. If this touched something in your heart, take a moment to comment. I feel more myself in the quiet moments. And don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and hit the bell so you never miss what's coming next. If you'd like to support the channel and help us keep creating meaningful content like this, you can tap the Super Thanks button. It means more than you know. Number 7, rekindling lost dreams and passions. There's something almost sacred that begins to stir when life gets quiet, when your time belongs to you again, and the noise of everyone else's expectations fades into the background. In that space, something unexpected rises. The dreams you once held close, then quietly set aside. Maybe it was music, or gardening, or the book you never finished. Maybe it was painting, or poetry, or simply sitting with your thoughts and letting creativity flow again. When you live alone, you're not just finding peace, you're rediscovering the passions that made you feel alive. Not because someone's asking you to, but because your heart remembers. Let me tell you about Ruth, a 76-year-old who had always wanted to be an artist. But between raising kids and working full-time, there was never time. After she began living alone, she pulled out an old box of brushes and started to paint again. At first, just quietly in the evenings. Then her paintings filled the walls of her apartment. Soon, neighbors asked to see them. And not long after, she was selling her art at the weekend market. When someone asked her how it felt, she smiled and said, "I didn't realize I could still come back to something that once made me feel so much like myself." That's the beauty of this stage in life. It's not just a closing, it's an opening, a gentle return. And in that return, you realize it was never too late. The door wasn't locked, it was just waiting for you. Living alone gives you that room to revisit what once made your soul light up. It says, go ahead, try again. And sometimes that small permission is all it takes to begin again. So if there's something inside you, a dream you left behind, a passion you thought was over, know this, it's still there, and it's still yours. If this story touched you, take a moment to share this video with a friend. You never know who's ready to remember what they once loved. And if it resonates, drop a comment and share. It's not too late to start again. Living alone after 65 is often misunderstood. Some people see it as a risk, a last resort, or a lonely path. But for many, it's exactly the opposite. It's a quiet revolution, a soft but powerful return to yourself, a conscious choice to live by your own rhythm while you still have time, strength, and clarity to shape your life on your own terms. Living alone doesn't mean closing doors on others. It means finally opening the door inward. It means acknowledging that your preferences still matter, that your time, your energy, your comfort, they are worth protecting. You've earned this space. You've earned this breath. Every wrinkle, every hard-won boundary, every scar on your heart, they brought you here. And this chapter, it's not about giving up. It's about breathing deeper, thinking freely, feeling without judgment. It's the kind of peace that only comes when the person you're sharing space with is someone who truly knows you, and that someone is you. That kind of companionship isn't small, it's profound. And once you feel it, you may realize you were never really missing anything. You were just waiting to come home to yourself. So if you've ever asked yourself whether living alone after 65 might actually be the right path for you, don't answer with fear. Answer with truth. Ask your heart how it feels in the quiet. Ask your mind what it does when no one's watching. Ask your spirit what it craves when the day belongs only to you. And the answers? They may not be loud, but they will be real. Thank you for spending this time with us today. We'd love to hear from you. Drop a comment below and tell us, living alone after 65 gave me. Finish that sentence in your own words. What did this video help you realize? What are you going to carry into your own life starting today? If you found value here, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video with someone who might need a quiet reminder that it's never too late to choose yourself. And if you'd like to support this channel and help us keep creating thoughtful content like this, you can consider tapping the Super Thanks button. It helps us reach more people with stories that matter. In the next videos, we'll be diving deeper into how to build a fulfilling, independent lifestyle after 60, from mental health and relationships to habits that nourish your body and mind. Is there a topic you'd love to see us explore? Let us know in the comments. We're here to serve you, to grow with you, and to bring what matters most to this chapter of your life. You deserve peace. You deserve joy. You deserve a life that feels fully your own. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again very soon.